Okay, I'm talking about divine masculine and I'm talking about divine feminine today. And I'm helping a client of mine who is really, I've been working with her for years now to be able to call in her one. And we've been doing a lot of work on that and a lot of her limiting beliefs and what she was taught and programmed about men. Okay. So it's really interesting. So I've been having these great conversations. And a year ago, she met a guy and he's wonderful. Like he's very healthy. He's very strong. He's a strong guy. He's really a great guy. Right. And he acts like a dude, right? He's a guy. Like there's no doubt about it. Some of the things he does just cracks me up because it reminds me of my husband, right? And, as you guys know, I've been married, Greg and I have been together since we were high school sweethearts. We've been married for 30 years. We've been together for 39 years. So long-term marriage relationship. He is the love of my life. He is my soulmate. I absolutely dig everything about him. And sometimes he drives me absolutely crazy, right? And I drive him absolutely crazy. Why? Divine masculine, divine feminine, not even divine, just masculine and feminine. Okay. So there is a guy that I love. If you guys have ever read any of his books and you're interested in this, his name is Deida, D-E-I-D-A. And he really does classes and books for women to better understand men. And he also teaches men how to understand women by, here's the key, by understanding themselves, not to blame it on the women, but to understand themselves, and then how masculine energy can lead feminine energy, and feminine energy can be in its feminine energy. He's the bomb, you guys. I love him. Deida, D-E-I-D-A. So in the attempt to really help my friend a little bit, because she has so many very well, why is he afraid of commitment? What does he do this? Why does he do these things? I picked up this book and I love this book and I want to show it to you. It's called It's a Guy Thing, an Owner's Manual for Women. Deida. It's a guy thing, right? Now, most of you guys in my community are men. I do have a couple of guys on here and, I'm talking to the ladies and the women right now because you guys are my clients. I mostly pretty much always work with women. Okay. So on the It's a Guy Thing. So I was reading that this weekend and you can see I've tapped some things. It is really interesting. There were a couple of things that got my brain working and it got me going. Even during my swim today, I was really kind of focused on this. And so I just want to read you guys a couple of chapters, not chapters, but a couple of things out of the book. And, unfortunately, our little mole caused some time issues. So it did affect our time issues. So I will try to work with this right now. But one of the things I wanted to read you is, well, first of all, before I read you, let me just go back really quick. So one of the things I want to tell you is that in indigenous societies and indigenous populations, and this isn't in the book, this is what my brain went to, right? So this thing got my brain going and then I just decided to kind of go down a rabbit hole. So in indigenous societies, the creation story, right? The creation story of mankind is beautiful. Like it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm just going to say it, like the creation story in Christianity for me, like what I was raised and I was taught, I don't like that Christianity. I don't like that story. You know what I mean? The Adam and Eve story and getting bounced out of the garden and it's all being the woman's fault and, all that stuff doesn't resonate with me. Okay. I'm not trying to knock it. I'm just saying that at this point in my life, that metaphor and that teaching does not resonate with me. I just don't care for it. Okay. And it resonates with a lot of people. And if it resonates with you, great. I am not trying to trigger you or knock you. Okay. What I am trying to talk about is there are some other creation stories, Hawaiian, for example, also some of the Native American ones, Hindu, and some of these other stories. It really is the story of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And if you look at their creation stories, the thread that they have in common is that there was darkness. There was nothingness, right? It was just dark. It was just nothing. There was literally no life. There was just nothing. There was just dark, not evil, not good, not bad, just dark. There was the absence of light. And so the dark was the masculine energy, right? That was the masculine energy. And then all of a sudden, something happened, a breath, a dance, creation energy, the spark of creation energy wanted to come into existence. And that is the feminine energy, because the feminine energy bursts, the feminine energy creates. So in Hinduism creation story, right, there was the darkness, there was Shakti, and there was Shiva. So Shakti was the darkness, and then Shiva came in with the dance. So she came in as her creation energy, and she started to dance. And it was the dancing that caused the light to spark and the light to form. And it was the light that caused the male energy, Shakti, to be drawn to her so they could create the creation story of mankind. And I just find that so beautiful and so poetic, right? And in Huna, when I went to Huna, I learned the same thing. It's the Po, it's a Kanhe, it's Uli, it's the same creation energy. So I really want to talk about the divine masculine and the divine feminine and the energy of the masculine and the feminine. And I've talked about this before, okay? So big picture, right? Feminine energy is creation energy. It is creativity, it is flow, it is nurturing, it is love itself, okay? The feminine energy is love at its core, right? That's what feminine energy is. It is flowy, it is allowing, it is beauty, it is aesthetics, it is sensuality, it is senses, you know, all of those lovely, beautiful things. That's why water is associated with the feminine energy, okay? Masculine energy is all about direction, action, making manifest. So the feminine energy creates, the masculine energy takes those ideas, takes those creation, and makes them happen. So feminine energy is bringing in and allowing, masculine energy is pushing out and creating. So masculine energy is focused, right? Masculine energy is getting it done. You know, all of those things, that is masculine energy. And every single human being within us, we must cultivate, whether our gender really doesn't matter, right? It's like, you know, although it does matter, but for this intents and purposes, we're not going to go down that one, right? I could talk about that forever, but we're talking about each human being must cultivate our masculine energy and our feminine energy, okay? And so when we want to do something in our life, when we have a dream, we need to be in our feminine energy so we can create the dream, so we can feel the dream, so we can dream the dream, right? So we can just be in that creative process. And then at some point, you know, we can be in education, we can be research, we can find out what we need. And at some point, we must shift our feminine energy into the masculine energy, because if we just hang back and dream and be a dreamer, we will never make our dreams come true, because in this three-dimensional world of ours, it requires our focus. It requires our action. It requires clarity and clear thinking. So then we need to switch into our masculine energy. Now, when we are doing, pushing, going, particularly when we are living in our female bodies right now, we can get out of balance. When we are constantly pushing the masculine energy, then our feminine can get out of balance, okay? So when that's happening, that's what I've been doing lately. I have been doing a lot of pushing because I have a lot of things I'm doing for next year that I'm creating for the summer, and also for the fall, winter of this year, I'm in push mode. And I just realized yesterday that I was exhausted and I just didn't want to be in push mode. And I had a whole bunch of things I wanted to do, and I wanted to be laser focused, and I could feel my energy draining. And I could tell by the conversations this last week that I've been having with my husband that I have been so much more in my masculine energy, because he's such a masculine guy. He's always in his masculine energy. Well, not always, sometimes even his feminine, but a lot in his masculine. We have have different communication styles. He doesn't treat me quite the same when I am in my pushing masculine energy than when it's the two of us and he's in his masculine and I'm in my feminine. And I realized just by the energy of it that we've become a little bit more disconnected, right? We have not been as connected this week. And it's because my energy had shifted where I was more out of balance and I was much more in this masculine doing, pushing, angular than being in my feminine. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have big dreams and I have things I want to get done and I have a business. So please do not put a judgment of bad or good on this, okay? That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying that I recognize that I love my feminine energy. I really do. I live in my feminine energy much more than I actually live in my masculine energy. And I could feel this stickiness, for lack of better word, almost like, you know, when you take the batteries, polarity, and you take the batteries and you put the opposites and they come together and they just go zoom and they're right together and you turn them around and then there's that resistance. There was that resistance this week between me and my hubby, and it's been building for a couple of weeks as I've been incredibly focused. Nothing wrong with it. It's fine. I just need to be aware of it because I know that when I get too much in my masculine, he stays in his masculine, and then we just don't have the connection that we have. Okay. Okay. So masculine energy, feminine energy. Hopefully you guys got that. Okay. So now what I want to read you really quick is I just want to read you this part in David Deida's book. I don't know if you can see this. Okay. But it's a part in here and it talks about, isn't it better to be balanced than all masculine or all feminine? So I thought that was interesting. And it says, a whole person is able to express both the masculine and the feminine in action and emotion. Such a person can focus and accomplish something without distraction, but is also able to relax and engage fully in emotion, feeling, and intimacy. A balanced individual can exercise both masculine and feminine energy. However, for two people to come together as lovers rather than simply business partners or friends, it's good for the man and the woman to relax into their masculine and feminine energies, respectively, so that there is polarity between them. You guys, I just talked about the battery and polarity. That's what I mean. So now I want to read you something really fascinating, my women friends, and particularly my feminist friends who I adore and have had conversations with about this. Jessie, I'm looking at you. Dawn, I'm looking at you, right? Colleen, I really want to read this next part to you, and please hear this part, okay? This is interesting. Culture determines the value placed upon masculine and feminine energy. In our present culture, the masculine is valued more compared to the feminine. Even in our body, even in the way we move, we are expected to be more masculine than feminine. When we are in our feminine, there is a kind of relaxed, open, sensual, and connected to the elements way of moving. When we are in our masculine, there is a kind of angular, on the way to a meeting way of moving. It is much more accepted in our cultural to move with purpose and focus. Otherwise, it looks as though we're too relaxed, too sensual, too happy. Society determines which style is most accepted, but the style itself is just an expression of the natural masculine and feminine energy. Both styles are necessary for wholeness, but in moments of sexual intimacy, partners need to relax into reciprocal styles of sexual polarity if they are to remain alive, if the attraction is to remain alive. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about sexual attraction today. I'm actually talking about the other one. But I guess what I really wanted to point out with that one is Susan just said, my energy is out of balance. I'm definitely more in my masculine. All I want to tell you, girlfriends, okay, in our society, there is a reason why you probably sometimes feel much more comfortable in your masculine energy. It is because our society, particularly in the United States, actually values action and money and confidence and all those things more than they value relaxed, laid back, happiness, joy, peace, love, nurturing. Those things are often seen as weaknesses. And if I'm coming to a close on my talk, right? The end of my talk is to tell you that being in the feminine energy, is not a weakness. Just like being an empath is not a weakness. Just like being highly sensitive is not a weakness, okay? The reality is, you guys, this is our hidden strength. The world is changing. It is. And energies are changing, and more people are having their awakenings, and more people are coming back to their spirituality and their personal growth and development, and they are wakening up. And when I talk to you week after week after week about love being the answer, love is the answer, and the divine feminine is the answer. And balance of bringing the divine feminine back into our world and back into better balance is a solution. And I just want you to be aware of that, because most of you on my community are women. I want you to be aware of your radiance. I want you to be aware of your beautiful self. I want you to be aware of your body, however and wherever it is right now, and accept its strength, its beauty, its purpose, its ability to be in creation energy, and how the world doesn't even come into being unless there are the women to create it. Okay. So yes, Jessie, goddess energy rising. So that's really what this was about. Today's talk is really about just as above, so below. Enjoy your feminist, express your radiance. Sure, get your crap done. You know what I mean? Get shit done. That's fine. You know what I mean? And when you start feeling out of balance, it's really okay to lay down and take a nap. So, okay, or lay down and read a book. It's a guy thing. It's really fine. Take care of yourself, my friends. Understand that there is a massive amount of society pressure on us right now. You know, that there's a lot of society pressure. There's much more pressure on the way we look as women than the pressure that's put on men. You know, there's a lot more pressure on us in terms of leading corporations, you know, leading our own businesses. There's just a lot of society pressure on us right now. And we can recognize the pressure, we can get mad at it, or we can rise to the challenge. And I'm here to just say rise to the challenge, because I see you all and I love you. Okay. Yay. Okay. That ended up being a fun talk. I hope it didn't feel like I was yelling at you. I wasn't trying to point a finger at you. I just got so passionate because I love this talk. It's such a passionate one. Okay. And I just want to notice, Anna's been saying, Dawn's been saying that I got orbs all around me today. And she said there was 2. And Dawn, I was in the middle of the road, but I wanted to tell you that's my grandfather and grandfather wisdom keeper spirits. So I've been doing a lot of communication with them, and they have come in. They came into me about a good 2 years ago now, and they showed themselves to me in a meditation, and they told me it was time. And so they are always with me, and I always have the divine masculine, the divine feminine, the goddess and the god with me at all times in my energy field to talk about it. And it's to help me balance my masculine and feminine energies, because I was always in the feminine much more than the masculine. So I'm so glad you saw the orbs, Dawn, because you saw my guides, right? You saw my team. So okay. Okay. I love it. Thank you, guys.